This week of Motoring Forum, we continue looking into the plight of the country's motorcycle riders for being discriminated upon and harassed by the police and traffic enforcers. Last week, we had the view from the umbrella organization of the country's different motorcycle clubs. This week, we have on Motoring Today's Motoring Forum, Director Francis Almora, the head of the LTO Law Enforcement Service, to give his insights into this issue. Hello, Director Almora, and welcome once again to Motoring Today.
Hello, Butch, and to all the viewers of Motoring Today.
Last week, we had a guest, one of the leaders of the biggest group of motorcycle riders in the Philippines, the Riders of the Philippines. Our main topic of discussion was the alleged discrimination and harassment on bikers by the police and traffic enforcers. As the head of the LTO Law Enforcement Service, what can you say about this serious allegation by the bikers?
This issue was raised during one of the hearings in Congress regarding the discrimination of motorcycle riders by law enforcers. However, it was clarified that these are local law enforcers, not national law enforcers. So that means it's not the LTO, it's not HPG, it's not MMDA, or those that are implementing traffic rules and regulation from the PNP. These are more or less these personnel of local government units that are implementing local ordinances. In general, for us in the LTO, we really do not discriminate with regards to riders, whether these are riders of motorcycles or four-wheel motor vehicles. Why? Because we treat each driver as an individual and contributory to in general, with regards to the traffic discipline and safe road use. So we look at them as a single, regardless of what you use, whether you're using a motorcycle, you're a rider, or you're a driver of a motor vehicle. You are part of the road safety advocacy of this office.
One of the specific issues that was discussed was the recent crackdown on auxiliary lights installed on some motorcycles. The bikers say that such lights have been allowed by the LTO. However, the HPG enforcers who confront bikers who use such lights do not seem to know of such LTO ruling. What can be done about this seeming confusion between two government agencies, which is to the disadvantage of the bikers?
Unlike the previous years, this time LTO and HPG are really working together. We work closely with the HPG, so personally I go with the director of HPG and his staff, and we also invite them here in LTO. We discuss a lot of things with regards to enforcement. Of course, usually or in general, the procedures and guidelines, especially on these matters, come from LTO as the lead agency. Regarding this the seemingly conflicting interpretation of laws, it is actually, if you look at it, it's not conflicting or HPG doesn't know about the law. It could be that sometimes the motorcycle rider himself may have overdone the modification or the use of these LED lights. What do I mean with that? There are prescriptions as to the number of LED bulbs in one light. So if you are supposedly it's just 6. If you use more than 6 bulbs, then that should be confiscated. Then all the other lights that are allowed, if you do not exceed them, then there's no problem. But if you overdo it, that's a time that any other law enforcement agency that implements national law would really check on you and would let you remove it or apprehend you.
Now, aside from these lights, there's also this issue of regulating aftermarket accessories, but such move does not seem to have any clear rules or guidelines. You take on this, sir?
Maybe some of these riders may not be aware that LTO have a very clear guideline. It says there that any modification that would affect the stability, the safety of the unit, and the environment is strictly prohibited. So any modification, then we have specified, there are specifics here like the handlebar, muffler, the footsteps, the rim and the tire size. They should not be modified. These are standard factory specifications, and we believe that the motorcycle is designed to use this and not an after-sale product. If you try to change the rim and the tire size, that would be contrary. The manufacturer will no longer guarantee that that unit is fit to be used along national roads, and this should not be allowed.
Another issue of discrimination that the riders of the Philippines have raised is that almost all bikers who are riding in tandem are suspected of being criminals, considering that the term riding in tandem has been associated to many crimes that were committed. An offshoot of this is some local governments have prohibited back riders, while some require helmets that do not cover riders' faces, reducing their protection while riding. How do you address this issue?
The Motorcycle Helmet Act actually prescribes the use of helmet. It prescribes several types of helmet. It is not full face alone. So if the local government unit had passed an ordinance not contrary to this law, then it is acceptable. The use of helmets that are not full face, it can be done. However, for other issues regarding the use of helmet, especially that there are LGUs that enact regulations or ordinances prohibiting the use of helmet. This is contradictory to the national law, and it is a basic tenet of law that no local law should be passed in contrary to a national law. So this should be addressed, and we believe we have been attending several hearings in Congress. Our honorable congressman had already are addressing this issue, and we hope that with their collective leadership, we will be able. This issue will be addressed.
Now, the Riders of the Philippines group is opting for the possibility for them to work closely with government agencies such as the LTO and the HPG on clarifying or coming up with standard rules for the benefit of the majority. How possible is this, and how can this be done?
Definitely, LTO will welcome any initiative from our clients or the motoring public with regards to enhancement of LTO rules and regulation. As long as this is geared towards a better managed traffic, safer motor vehicles, and safer drivers, then definitely we welcome them. And regarding this, we really welcome them to submit to us their proposals, and we will study this. If we need to talk, we sit down and talk about it, then we will do it. We only have one objective, and we hope that we share this objective.
Thank you very much for your time, Director Almora. Before we end, do you have any message to the riders, to the public, and to your fellow traffic enforcers as well?
Well, for the riders, MC riders, we have to really look into the existing rules and regulations of LTO. If these are really, let's say, contrary to the benefit of the motorcycle riders, then you call our attention. However, we look at it in general as these rules and regulations are intended for the general welfare of all those that uses the road. So we do not actually discriminate with the riders. but then we encourage them, or we encourage you to help us, to assist us. It's for your own good. If you know the law and others violate it, then you know that you are on the right track. For the other enforcers, we have existing laws that if you are not authorized to implement these laws, then you have to get an authority to implement it. So let's study these laws that affects the motorcycle riders and implement those that are really implementable, or that we are authorized to implement.
Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you, Boots. Happy motoring.
That was Director Francis Almora, head of the LTO Law Enforcement Service, our guest this week on Motoring Today's Motoring Forum.